So, Grant, I'm doing a little bit of research on the marching band, and I'm trying to get an idea of what it's like to really be in the marching band and kind of get a grasp of how things are and what it's going to be like throughout the rest of the season. So, my first question would be, could you describe a typical day in marching band?
Typical day in marching band, show up 10 minutes early to practice, get my instrument out of the trailer, bring it down to the field, do a little warm up, stretch, get ready for practice. Then we arc up. Small sectionals go over the music that we're going to go over through in arcs, go into full band, warm up as a whole band, go over the music for the day, quick break, and then we start cleaning drill or setting drill depending on the day for halftime shows.
Okay. So, when you guys are doing your typical warm ups and stuff, does it help to have them specifically communicate what warm ups you're doing, or do you guys kind of have like your set list already like ready to go as it is?
We do the same warm ups every day.
Okay.
We do have symbols that the drum majors show us. Like our first tuning exercise is called Camelot.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our symbol for Camelot, and we do like every stance tune has a symbol every warm up. So we usually do the same order of operations as far as warm ups go, but they do, every once in a while throw in a different one and they just show us.
Okay, cool. And so, like you're saying, you have like different symbols and stuff. And one of the main like concepts we're going through, like with this project, is communication. So, my next question would be: are there like other specific symbols that you guys use, like per se, like for different warm ups or like different like dynamics and stuff like that?
Well, as far as conducting goes, there's signs that the conductor will show to get louder, softer for dynamics and music, but also in the stands at football games, we have over 20, songs in our pep pack that we play. So, yeah, they use symbols to show the band that there's 300 of us, so we can't hear what song we're going to play. So for like 30 plus songs, we have a symbol for everyone. Like we have Runaway Baby, like the fight song, Pompeii's, Volcano. So that's how we communicate in the stands.
That's good. Okay, so from your perspective, mind this like as a side question. What instrument do you play?
Instrument do I play? My first instrument is tenor saxophone.
Tenor sax?
Yes.
So from your perspective as a tenor sax player, how do you feel your section plays, like what role do you feel your section plays within the band as a voice in the actual music?
Well, in the marching band I play sousaphone.
Oh, okay.
But my main instrument is tenor sax. But the sousaphones act as the bass line, and a lot of times on the field our drill's written so the sousaphones are either right in front or right behind drum line. So we're kind of that second beat to the band. We add kind of like the tonality to the kick of the band.
So you guys kind of undermine the tempo.
Yeah, tempo.
Okay. So would you say that a lot of your music kind of coincides with what the drum line does, based on like the basis of like quarter notes and stuff like that, and like your communication with them?
Our accents all line up with hits with the drum line, and a lot of our syncopations line up with the drum line. And in fact, our second halftime show, our sectionals, we have to work with the drum line on lining up our hits and making sure that the bass line is prominent. So, yes.
Cool. Okay, so, and like I said recently, I was out there watching yesterday, and one of the things I noticed majorly was the communication between the drum major and the band itself is like obviously majorly important, but I noticed he does his whole like specific conducting when he's actually like, conducting the music, and like you guys follow that. Are there different ways that he conducts for specific time signatures to communicate to you guys there's a different change coming up, or say you guys have like an accelerando or something like that? Is there a way that he kind of like changes it up in order to communicate to you guys that something different's coming?
Yeah, there's a lot of body language that goes along with showing tempo changes or even the kind of style that you want to play. If you want to, we have one of our halftime shows is an aggressive Latin piece, and throughout the song it gets more and more aggressive. So obviously we want that to happen on the podium as well, and it's almost like a reminder to everyone on the field of how you're supposed to be playing at that particular moment. So, you can see a more legato style conducting pattern, or even the look on his face or the aggressiveness of where his Ignis is hitting. There's definitely a lot of body language that goes into that.
Sweet. Okay. So now moving from like the whole general picture, a main concept we like to think of in like our class right now is activity systems. So what I picked was the marching band as an activity system. And one of the big things about activity systems is the motives. So my next question would be, as a band member, where do you see your personal motives within the band, and then the band as a whole? What do you see as the whole band's like personal motives?
Me personally, band for me was intense in high school because it was kind of a competition environment. And so in college band, it's a little more laid back and fun. You know, everyone there is there because they want to be there, and because they have some musical background and have been successful in their, in their high school programs. So everyone's got that skill set already. It's just bringing it together, and I just have a good time doing it, and I love performing for people. So we get to perform in the Bright House Stadium all the time in front of thousands of people. So cool. You know, so we get to play for everyone, put a good halftime show on for everyone, and that's why I do it. I love to perform. And then the band as a whole, I'd like to think that everyone's motives and the reason that they do it are the same. They want to have some fun and perform.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, because that's a major thing. Like with the concepts we go through, it's like with the activity system, it's very important to have like shared motives for like common like goal. And then, so obviously, I guess the best product of music would be like the main goal. And then, so another thing we go into that we're trying to like comprehend is the tools that are used within the band itself. Not so much communication because we like picked up on that, but now in the more physical aspect, what would you consider your tools as your own personal musician, like for you to like produce the best quality music, or like what is the best way for you?
What skill set do I bring to the table?
Yeah, exactly. Perfect, yeah.
I've played an instrument for 7 years now, so I definitely have a trained ear compared to someone on the street. You know, I have relative pitch, so I can kind of pick up and know how to tune an instrument. My finger coordination is such that I can probably pick up and play notes on any instrument. I'm not saying I have good tone, but, you know, I have the embouchure set to play, you know, sousaphone, and also the marching part. I marched 4 years in high school, so I've kind of got the muscles developed already to march with good technique.
So experience, you would say, is very
important. Past experience is probably the most valuable asset that everyone has in the marching nights, and that's why it's a higher level than high school, because everyone's had at least, I'd hope, 4 years of marching. Where in high school, you know, you have people that are freshmen and people that are seniors. So you have people that are just learning and people that have done it for 3 years.
Okay, so yeah, I understand that. And so I noticed you said something that kind of like picked up with me, because I really don't know much about it. So like on a personal note, for me, a question would be, how could you describe the embouchure? Like, what exactly is that?
The embouchure?
Yeah.
Is the way, like the shape that you form your lips to play a certain instrument. And it's different. Like for saxophone, when you curl your lower lip in, and you kind of want to keep your cheeks pulled back to have a tight embouchure. Then for tuba, it would be, you know, keeping your lip pulled back so you can buzz your lips. But it's just to explain the position that your your face muscles need to make.
I feel you. So, so another like major concept, because we, like I said, we're doing the activity systems, and like there's a big triangle and everything that we focus on. A big part of it is the community as a whole, and like when I say community, I mean the band as a whole. So what I'm trying to get at is, do you feel that like within the band you guys have your shared motives? Does that create a sense of like family tie within everybody?
Very much so. Very much so. You know, it's one of those things, like we all go through a 14-hour day, 6 days a week band camp. You know, it's like we've all got a common shared experience that was, you know, in some ways tough for us, you know, so we've all got that common ground to talk about. We've got, something to talk about, something that we've gone through together.
Okay.
You know, so we have that common ground.
Okay, and then so one of my like final questions, leading into like sort of like clearing it all up, when you speak of band in your own personal aspect, what does it mean like what does band mean to you?
To me, band means performing music with other people and putting a show on because that's what I love to do. I love to perform, and I love to perform for the sake of performing and sharing that experience with others.
Okay. And then, so obviously this is a writing class that I'm going into, so it's English and all that stuff. So one of my main things was I'm trying to like show my teacher how one of his main concepts he tries to bring up is there's different forms of writing and all that stuff. So I kind of took it to a different level, and I brought in the musical aspect and writing music and how music is a different style of writing. So my question would be, how would you interpret like my own aspect of understanding that music is a different form of writing? How would you interpret that yourself? Like, how would you describe music in the sense of like writing?
First of all, if you know music, you know music all around the world. It's an international language. It's something that you speak not through your vocal palette, but through instruments. And I would say that if you listen to a very well-trained, musician, anywhere from like classical to, a jazz musician, you can feel, and you kind of get that emotional feeling from what they're playing, and that's one of the most special forms of communication.
Exactly.
That emotional connection, and that's
exactly
what music is all about.
Exactly, because that's sort of like one of like the concepts I'm trying to bring out within like evoking like marching band as like my main like research topic, because like my teacher's trying to explain is writing is something that evokes emotion and brings out questions and like gives you a reason to kind of like think outside the box, or it gives you a way of expressing yourself. And so I figured with musical writing, it gives you a way of expressing yourself so much with like dynamics and being able to like, for instance, like feel like that emotion that like say there's a slower piece leading into like a faster piece and then all that stuff. So what like I'm trying to do is figure out how I can take that concept and apply it to writing in this class.
Okay.
And so my next question would be, in your personal opinion, so I could get like a side idea from other people, because like that's a big thing this class do is like gathering ideas from everybody else. How would you approach taking band and turning it into something to be written about, or speaking about the language that is music, I guess you could say?
So translating notes into words.
Like translating notes into words,
or your
like,
experiences.
Yeah, like experience, like all of it together. Trying to like, how would you take your approach to research about band?
That's a tough question.
I know, right? That's exactly why I'm doing this right now.
I think the most important part about music is really just listening and experiencing. So the best way to research it would be to ask people why they feel the way they do, why they listen to music in the first place. And a lot of times people don't even think about that, and they say, I don't know, why do I listen to music? It's just something that everyone does, and you go crazy without it. And it's almost like it's a way for you to immerse yourself in whatever emotion you want, and it's, if you listen to rock music, or whether you listen to jazz music or alternative, classical, whatever you listen to, you feel a certain way depending on what emotion you currently are in and what the person that wrote the song was feeling at the time that they wrote it. So by asking people how they feel when they listen to those songs, you can really get something out of it. You almost would interview more people and write down the responses.
Okay, so my final question would be, when you think about band and everybody as the family, like the whole family aspect, think about this for a second.
It's fine.
So, like I said, so when you think about band and you have the whole family aspect in there and everything, do you feel that as an activity system, you guys achieve your goals together in a way that kind of moves towards the goal, but at the same time, because like one of the main things you talk about is progression.
Okay.
And so, like, there's the ideas of taking old activity systems and slowly progressing until they maybe either become part of other activity systems and so on and so forth. So my question would be, when you take band as like the whole aspect and the family aspect, do you guys see yourselves taking maybe styles from other like bands, like other activity systems, and applying it to your own like capabilities and like your music and how you guys relate, and like in a sense connecting other activity systems together?
I would say 100%. I mean, even our first show, two of the music selections are taken from DCI cores from the 80s. Last year, they made a space show, so they took music from Star Trek and Star Wars, things like that. So that would be bringing, influence from other interests into band and conveying that through our medium, which is music.
So you could say that basically that everything is sort of like built off everything. Like music is like a recreation of past music, and you can kind of like progress as it goes on.
Yeah.
All right, sweet, awesome. All right, well, that's all I needed for the interview. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Awesome. Sweet.